All right, here we go. Graphing by using the quadratic formula. If we're graphing a quadratic, it's going to take the U shape. In order for it to make the U shape, we have to have at least 3 points. The 3 points that we want are the vertex and then the 2 roots. If we're using quadratic formula, then we have a parabola that crosses the x-axis at least once, so there are going to be some roots. We will have 1 vertex, and typically we have 2 roots. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to use these 2 formulas here. They're actually, this one is just the first part of this one. This is going to give us our vertex, the place where the parabola changes directions, and this one will give us our 2 roots. And here's our function. Remember, here's the A, here's the B, and here's the C. Now we could just jump right into this, but I see that this equal 1 is over here on this side. I need this to be 0 in order for it to give me the roots. So subtract 1 from this side, subtract 1 from this side. This 1 doesn't have an x with it, so I can't combine it with that or that. I can only combine it with that 8. So now I have f of x equals 4x squared plus 4x minus 9 equals 0. And now I can start. I'm going to rewrite the formula right down here so that you can follow along as I plug the values in. The first thing I need is the opposite of b, or negative b. b is positive 4, so I need negative 4. Then the plus minus sign, because this is actually 2 different equations. Then the square root symbol. Here's what comes next. b squared. So I take the value for b. It's good practice to put it in parentheses in case it's a negative number. If this had said minus 4x, then inside the parentheses would be negative 4, and outside the square. Minus 4. This 4 will be in every single occasion that you use a quadratic formula. It's part of the formula. Okay. Times A. Here's A. It's another 4. This one just happened to have a lot of 4's in it. Times C. Here's C. It's minus 9. So in my calculation, negative 9. Alright. Now I've got all the top part of the formula done. Now the bottom part. Divided by 2a. So 2. And then again, a was 4, so times 4. Now, let's talk again about how to type this in the calculator. You will only have to type this in once. You'll get one answer, then you'll make a little change, and you'll get your other answer. Okay. The more math that you can do before you start typing in the calculator, the easier it's going to be, like this right here. 2 times 4 is 8. So when I get to the divide part, I'm just going to type in divide by 8 instead of having to type in divided by 2 times 4. So we go to the calculator. It's time to type this in. Let me make sure that that's visible on the screen. Yes. Alright, so we start with this negative 4. But remember, the whole top of this is going to be divided by something. So I'm going to start with a parenthesis. I'm going to put the entire top part of the fraction in a parenthesis. that will save me from having to do 2 steps or save me from getting the wrong answer. So negative 4, we're going to do plus first. So plus, and then square root is second x squared, 4 squared minus 4 times 4 times negative 9. I've reached the end of that negative 9. I need to move out from underneath the radical, so arrow over once, put your closing parenthesis, divide. You can type in parentheses 2 times 4. But if you can do that in your head, 2 times 4 is 8, so divided by 8, enter. So here's my first root, 1.08 or 1.1. You know what? That's close enough to 1. I'm going to call it just 1. So one of my roots is 1. Now I'm going to get the other root. To get the other root, just use the arrow in the calculator, go up and highlight everything that you typed in, push enter. It copied and pasted it. Now scroll back through or arrow back through till you get to that plus sign, change it to a minus sign, push enter. Negative 2.08. I'm going to call that close enough to the whole number negative 2. So my other root is negative 2. Now these are x values. So for the roots, x equals negative 2. You always write the smaller one first, and 1. I just need one more point, and I can go graph this bad boy. I need the vertex. The vertex comes from the first part of the quadratic formula, negative b over 2a. That's an a right there. And my a is 4. So here we go. The vertex, the x part of it is negative b over 2a. b is 4, so negative 4. A is 4 also, so 2 times 4. In the calculator, negative 4 divided by 2 times 4 is 8. Now I'm going to show you why if you go ahead and type that into the calculator. If you type this into the calculator as 2 times 4, you'll need to include parentheses. So if I do negative 4 divided by 2 times 4, what the calculator is going to do is it's going to divide negative 4 by 2 first. And it will give me negative 2. Then it will multiply by positive 4, which will give me negative 8. And that is not the correct answer. If you're going to put the multiplication in the denominator, then put it inside of parentheses. See what a difference it makes. Negative 0.5. Big difference between negative 8 and negative 0.5. The correct answer is negative 0.5. Alright, so my x value at the vertex is negative 0.5. Now I need the y value. Here I wrote that the y for the vertex was f of x. What that means is I'm going to take my value for x, I'm going to plug it into the function and work it out, and that will give me my answer for y. So y is going to equal, here's my x, here's my function, so 4 times negative 0.5 squared, put that square on the outside of the parentheses, plus 4 times negative 0.5 minus 9 equals. Now I have something I can type in the calculator, so here we go. 4 times negative 0.5 squared plus 4 times negative 0.5 minus 9, enter, equals negative 10. Here's an x, here's a y. That's a point. So my vertex is the point negative 0.5, negative 10. Well, I've got one point, and I've got these two roots. These are also points. This one is negative 2, 0, and this one is 1, 0. I'm ready to go graph this thing. I hope this doesn't show up too fuzzy on the video. All I'm going to do is I'm going to plot these 3 points, and then I'm going to connect them using a smooth curve. Let me do my my roots first. They're going to be on the x-axis. I got the numbers negative 2 and positive 1. So on the x, I'm going to go to negative 2 and make a dot. I'm going to go to positive 1 and make a dot. Then my vertex was at negative 0.5 and negative 10. But I'm looking here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My graph only goes 8 below the x-axis. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to rescale how I count the y's. Let's count by 2's. So this would be negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8, negative 10, negative 12, negative 14, negative 16. Now that gives me plenty of room. Here's 0, 0. I'm plotting the point negative 0.5. So I go over to negative 0.5, and now I go down to 10, negative 10. There's my vertex. And as pretty as I can, I connect all 3 of these points with a smooth curve, which means it's not a hard V shape. It's rounded here at the bottom. This was the point, negative 0.5, negative 10. Here's the point, 1, 0. And here's the point, negative 2, 0. Okay, so in essence, that's what you're doing on these. I gave you graph paper. If you see these numbers over here on the bottom, that's where I rescaled it for you. You can do it. You've done the quadratic formula before. You've done graphing before. You certainly know how to plot points. They should all turn out to be U-shapes somehow. I picked up functions for you that will work, so you will get actual valid answers whenever you do this process. Anyhow, that's graphing using the quadratic formula. You can do it. See you later. Bye.